Mine's not going to be nearly as interesting as Leif's because he's got sound, sorry. I know. But his was really cool, and I kind of feel bad that I made him wait this long to get an actual product out to market. But, so I told you that the VIC-MIDRI cartridge has a capability in it called ULTiMEM. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about ULTiMEM right now. Obviously, it's got a really cool name. So there you go. So the initial goals, as I indicated here, was to add cartridge capabilities to the VIC-MIDI cartridge, right? That was its whole goal. He has an 8K program, and I thought would it be really neat to get it stuck on there and have it not be able, or have it be able to be updated from the VIC itself. So people didn't have to be shipping a ROM all over the place. You know, hey, Leaf came up with a better version of this MIDI capability. Now I'm going to have to ship my EEPROM back and have you put a new version in. So that was the whole idea of putting this in. That was the initial goal. As I said last time, and you all laughed about it, and it was probably worthwhile, good for a good laugh, it didn't stay there, right? So now I've ended up with, these are the final goals. So program configurable ROM capabilities and RAM capabilities for the VIC-20. And so this is the feature list for this product. So there's been a number of RAM expansions over the years. I think this is pretty much, you know, I'd be surprised if you can find more things to do with this. So for RAM 1, 2, and 3, which are 3 places in the VIC-20, 3K that's at the bottom of the memory map, block 1, 2, 3, and 5, which are 8K blocks that are sitting up. Most of your cartridges are mapped into block 5. Some of them are mapped into other blocks, but those are 8K chunks in the memory map. You could put ROM or RAM there. And then 2 places that don't typically have ROM or RAM in them, which is IO2 and IO3. Normally those are called that way because they're normally where IO cartridges sit. You can put RAM or ROM in each one of those locations, right? With the cartridge, you can do so under computer control. Then you have read and write capabilities for each area. So you can put ROM there and have it read-write. You can put nothing there. You can have RAM there and have it be read-only, or you can put put RAM there and have it be read-write. So you got 4 different options. And then you have switches on the back of the unit, which you can control. You can use whatever you want for. So if you have some special program and you want to use the switches, you got them. You got a little LED on the back. You can do whatever you want with. A couple neat features, you can hide all the registers, so you get with things set up the way you want them. Like you want a 16K RAM expansion, you set the registers up, you can hide the registers, and then nobody will know the difference, right? The other thing you can do is you can unhide them, so that's at the bottom there, by what's called magic reads. So if you send special reads, special read commands, or peek commands in BASIC from special locations in the memory map, the registers will unhide themselves. So they're hidden and then they're unhidden, if you wish. And then the final feature is that you can do an actual hard reset like some of the other cartridges done. You can actually reset the entire machine from the cartridge, but the cartridge itself will not reset. So if you set up all your registers the way you want them, you can hard reset the machine, and then you can have all the registers set up even though the machine's done a hard reset, resetting everything on the serial bus and so forth. So this is what the unit looks like, the one that's going to production. You'll see that it's quite a small unit and it only has a couple chips on it. The first one on the left is the, first one on the left is the RAM, the second one is the ROM, and the third one is a programmable logic device, which makes everything possible at a reasonable price range. This particular unit that's going to production has 8 megabyte of ROM and 1 megabyte of RAM. So basically this has more RAM than a 512K RAM expansion unit for the 64, right? So I can't imagine, you know, I want to see somebody that's going to come up with something that's going to use all of the RAM and then need a little bit more. But that's sorry, I got the wrong thing at the bottom. It's not the VIC-MIDI, this is just the ULTiMEM only. But the unit you saw, well, okay, that's why. There it is. So this has got the same functionality in it, but the ROM and RAM capabilities are a little bit smaller. This unit has 512K of ROM and 128K of RAM. So a little bit more capability if you buy the full unit, but this one's got plenty of room for, see, 512K is what, 100 or 64 images, I believe 64 8K images, and of course 128K RAM you can map in anywhere you want. But probably the most important thing is to show that I have one of the units in Leif's VIC right now, and so if I can switch over to it and turn the unit on, I think you'll like what you see as far as one of the things I wanted to note, actually, before I turned over is there was an older cartridge that never made it production. It was called the VIC Flash VIC Flash plug-in, which was the name of the cartridge. It was never produced. It was designed by an individual by the name of Marco Michela. Some of you may know that name. He's over in Finland. And so when I announced that I was working on this particular unit, Marco said, hey, I've got some software that I wrote for an older cartridge that never made it production, and I think with a few tweaks, we could make it work for this. So he actually has been working on the software, and so what I'm going to show you today is he's written some software to allow a menuing system and a bunch of software titles to be loaded on the MIDI cartridge, and of course it flashes itself. I actually copied all the files onto this unit that I'm going to show you here. I copied them over about a half an hour ago, and it's pretty full. I would be surprised if you find something in this list, or I would be surprised to not have something on the list that everybody knows about. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. I'm going to flip over the source here. Let's see. Video. Let's see if it's found it here. Okay, so the thing's not all that great as far as the reproduction is concerned, but you've got this is a very simplistic screen. We're going to have to clean it up and make it look a bit prettier. This is part of the development effort. But you've got game cartridges, games, tool cartridges, and demo cartridges. And I'm gonna see if I can flip this around very quickly so I can more easily. There we go. So here's all your games. Any 16 gay game you want, and there's a whole bunch of them. And you can go back. 8K games, quite a few of those. And of course you've got your 3K games, which we don't have much of. Your unexpanded VIC games. And then of course any games that you have in BASIC do the same thing. Then you got all your, let's see, let's bring it back up. And then you got all the cartridges all on the list. And then in addition you've got, looks like your gremlins have been coming over and playing with me now, but this has got Jiffy DOS in it. And so I'm going to try to get all these to, so there's one of the games, right? So evidently I've got a couple of them that are not working all as correctly, but it's not even half full right now. This is an 8 meg cartridge, and he's put all the games that he could find out on zimmers.net, and so they're all listed there. And then one of the other things you can do is, if you start the unit up, actually there's a reset button on the bottom. I keep forgetting to use it, but if you just press one of the keys, this is the 8 key, and so if you press the 8 key, then it comes up with our RAM expansion. This would be 28K would be all, I think it would be 3 of the 4 banks full of RAM. You can also set it up for 3K. So bring it up here. So there's a 3K. If you hit the 3 button, you've got your 3K RAM expansion. And if you hit the shift and the number, so shift 3 brings up your 3K RAM expansion, but it also hides the registers. So now nobody can tell that this unit has a configurable RAM expansion in there, except if you go ahead and unhide the registers later on. So the registers are stuffed up at the top of IO3. There are 16 registers to set, so you can set them all from BASIC if you want. This does not require machine language to do. Each register has 2 bytes to be able to select what bank it's in. And so each one of the blocks of memory can be set to any bank in the entire memory space. So you have 8 megabyte, which is 1,000 8K locations in the flash memory RAM, or flash memory, and you can put each 8K anywhere you want. Each of the 8K slots, block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 5, you can put them anywhere in that 8 megabyte of ROM that you want, or 1 megabyte of RAM. And you can map them to the same location. So technically you can map block 1, block 2, block 3, and block 5 to the same location in memory, if you wish, so that you can do some really interesting things there. Or if you want to do like a multitasking solution or what, you can, every 60th of a second, you can map different memory into the same block of same memory location in the VIC-20. So it's more than just having all the RAM, it's having all the RAM and being able to configure where in the larger address space it is. It's basically the cartridge functions as a memory management unit, and you can select where in virtual memory you want your real memory to show up. And so the cartridges are filling up part of the ROM, but part of the ROM is free for everybody else to use, and of course the RAM is all open for everybody to use. So this unit, as well as VIC-MIDI, are going into production, should be available earlier next year. Like I said, this unit has 8 meg of ROM and 1 meg of RAM. And the VIC-MIDI has the same capabilities, the same registers. It's just less memory on the VIC-MIDI cartridge because there's some other stuff on the VIC-MIDI cartridge taking up some of the room. And I can't think of any limitations on the unit. The only thing is things are located in 8K chunks. So like RAM 1, 2, and 3 takes up like a portion of an 8K chunk, but not the whole thing. And IO 2 and 3 are each 1K each, and they take up the top end of one of the 8K chunks. So everything's mapped in as an 8K bank into the larger memory map. So, and like I said, you've got all the games you'd ever want right here. Everything you'd ever want in there. So, and I don't even know, some of these games are PAL only games, so you'll have to have a PAL machine for this to work on, or else you won't be able to play them. So, looks like Centipede to me. So, any questions? Yeah.
So with memory in the RS-232, you could potentially build a terminal program to interact.
Correct. In fact, I noticed the utility cartridge spot is not working on this one right now because it looks like I got a problem in the memory or the flash image that I put in there. But once I fix that, there's a 40 column terminal program that's in my in the list here, and so if that was loaded on the VIC-MIDI cartridge and it knew about that one doesn't because it's probably doing off the user port, but if somebody modified it slightly to use the new UART chip, then you could have a 40 column terminal emulator plus the actual RS-232 function all on the VIC-MIDI cartridge, just right there. Yep. Any other questions? Okay. Yep. Huh? What do I use to what? To write this software. This software is written in, this game. I don't know what that game is. There's a bunch of basic games on the list here, but this particular menu program is written in machine language, but you don't have to. I mean, you can write it anything you want. The only things you have to do is, and I probably should have put up the memory map here, a register list, but I ran out of time. There's 16 registers. 12 of those registers are just high and low bytes for what bank you want the memory in. So those are easy. You can poke those with whatever number you want. The other registers are pretty easy. One of the registers is a read-only register, and it can tell you what cartridge is running. So if you look at the VIC-MIDI, it'll say 18. It's cartridge 18, and ULTiMEM will say cartridge 17. So it's just an ID. And then some of the other ones are like how to reset the machine and stuff like that, and they're little bits. But you can function, all those things can be driven from BASIC. You don't have to drive them from ML if you don't want to. No problem. Yeah?
Can we pre-order?
Can you? Yes, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the website with the price, and go ahead and open it up for pre-orders probably either tonight or tomorrow when I get the picture of it up there. So you can pre-order. When they come in, I'll ship them out.
What's your web address?
That's good. Thank you very much, Mr. Closing Question kind of guy. I need to hire him as my marketing arm, right? Go4retro.com, the number 4 retro.com is the website. The store is linked off the main site. Go there and you can see all the other cool things that are there. These will be soon in pre-order, and then, like I said, it takes, the boards are I actually raced the board. It was in Iowa as I was leaving to come here, so I missed it. But I have one of the boards. I'm going to solder it up, just do a final check, make sure everything's working for the final run, and then release the board to manufacturing. It takes about 35 business days to do that. It ends up being about a month and a half clock time. So start them now, probably be the first or about this third week of January they'll ship. So I won't quite make the Christmas season, but if you go ahead and pre-order, you can give yourself a little piece of paper that says, "Hi, honey, give me this for Christmas Day." And then when you get it, you say, "Ooh, yay, I'm going to get this. I got to wait a couple weeks to get it." So I should be around third week of January that I can ship them out.
How much, sorry?
So both the units, this one, the ULTiMEM is about 60, and I believe the VIC MIDI is either 55, 50, between 50 and $60. I don't know where I've been continuing to try to shave some dollars off the cost as I get, part of building these things is, it's one thing, as you saw earlier when Leaf had the breadboard up, right? It's one thing to build them, and to get them to work. But it's another one to get them so that you can actually, sell them at an attractive price and get some profit out of them. So that's what I've continued to do over the last, and it's taken too long for this because it's one of those things that's sat on the bench too long. But trying to keep the price down so that everybody can enjoy them, as opposed to they sitting on the shelf in my basement where nobody's going to enjoy them at all. So that's one of the things. So I would assume I'm going to hedge my bets and say it's probably going to end up being about $55. So buy both, right? So a little bit over $100, and you get both, one of each. You're good to go. Any other questions? You guys can come up. Huh? I told you weren't in the. Eric's in the back. We should all look and wave at Eric. So Eric wired up that one prototype. And that was a maze of wires that he got put together there. And that's the thing. This is, as Leaf indicated, with these products, it takes like 4 or 5 iterations before you get to the unit you're going to actually produce. But yes, Eric, you got your name and lights on that. So you guys can play with it I've got a spot set up here. Some of the stuff I'm selling. I'll have this up on the screen, up on the LCD screen over there, and you can play around with it and see what works, and you can play with it in BASIC if you want and see what all's going there. So with that, I appreciate looking at the VIC MIDI cartridge, Leaf and I, and appreciate looking at ULTiMEM, and hopefully you all buy one. Thanks.